very rapid cars out there on the front of the grid. The red lights go on. They go out now, and it's a good start by Danny Hands from the front of the grid, but no, Craig Pollard steals a march at him and has the advantage as they go down into Oulton corner for the first time. Hands in second, looks like Harwich third, and in fourth position it's the Green Spider of Peter Belsey as they work their way down towards Cascades for the first time.
And we're going to have a challenge on here because Hands, I think, had a good exit down into Cascades, but battles as well in the mid-pack, which is going to be plenty of action, I'm sure, as well as at the front of the field. But it is pretty much side by side between Craig Pollard and between Danny Hands, but it's Pollard that's hanging on as they turn into the Shell Oils hairpin for the first time. The GAC ahead of the AHS. Then you've got James Harwich in the Maverick, and then Peter Belsey in the Spider. So 4 different chassis in the top 4 places, and that's not uncommon in Formula V racing here.
Certainly not wide open from that point of view. There at the rear of the field is 24. That's Rick Lanier. He's in the AHS Dominator, which isn't dominating right now. Out front is another of the cars, and Craig Pollard dropping back to 4th place. It's Hands leading, Harwich second, Belsey's third, and Pollard, who was on pole position then, back to 4th position in the Bears Motorsport GAC. Someone locking up a little bit further back is the number 12 car. That's Craig Cohen, another of the Bears Motorsport run cars. He continues on, though. One of them, though, straight line is the Knickerbrook chicane. That's number 16, James Madden in his GAC.
Okay, so a few moments there. Not sure what happened to Craig Pollard in all of that. There's Bill Garner, isn't it, going up the inside of Ben Cressy, having a good race, well up the order. But up front, it's Harwich in second, Belsey third, 4th Pollard, and 5th is O as they turn their way through Lodge. But Danny Hands is going off into the distance, isn't he, in the AHS Dominator, the Alan Hardin run car. So he's got a good gap at the end of 1 lap of racing here at Oulton Park. Then it's a big battle pack for second, being headed by championship leader James Harwich. There is Bill Garner. Yeah, he's up there in 7th position. He started 11th, so that's been a really good start, although, of course, there were a couple of cars missing in front.
So that, you could just see going through the front of shot there, was the fight for second place, headed by James Harwich. There is number 11, Ben Cressy. He's just got ahead of Bill Garner now and up into 7th position. So that's Ben Cressy in the Storm ahead of Bill Garner in the TWR Shane, but it's Danny Hands showing a clean pair of heels to the rest of the field at the moment in the number 2 AHS Motorsport prepared car. And then in second place it's James Harwich in that Maverick that he runs with him by himself and with his dad. Very much a family effort. And then Peter Belsey third in the ex-championship winning Spider. Jez Clark won the title in that car on a couple of occasions. They're heading down to the chicane, over hill, top and down towards Hislops. For the second time comes number 2, Danny Hands, about 2 seconds ahead of Harwich at the start of the lap, but Harwich is under pressure here, Josh, from Peter Belsey.
He is, and Craig Pollard's locking up and going off the road. So this race is starting to go all a bit wrong, isn't it, for Craig Pollard? So he's going to bounce back onto the road behind Steve-O, but ahead of Maurice Gloucester. I wonder if all is well with that car, because he's obviously had a moment earlier on, and that was sort of no one really involved in a battle with him, and he went off the road, which is quite unusual for Craig Pollard.
Rick Lanier out of the race, just pulled in beneath our commentary box, I can see. He was towards the back of the field in any case. So we're coming towards the end of lap 2 of this race. Danny Hands still leading, but it's number 1, James Harwich, in a position good enough for him to wrap up the championship in second place, but he's being put under a lot of pressure here by the Brands Hatch race winner, number 51, Peter Belsey. And then it's Steve-O, veteran of this championship for many, many years. He's another AHS Dominator. He's in 4th position as they're side by side now into Oulton Corner. There's something that's fallen off one of the cars there, I think I could see. Not sure what it was or who it was, whose car it was from, but they're still, no, they're not quite side by side now. Harwich has just about prevailed, but Belsey will survive to have another go. But Steve-O's right with them as well.
Didn't look like there was a touch between them, so not quite sure why something fell off one of the cars, but hopefully that's not really going to affect them. Danny Hands, by the way, going away up front, 3.5 seconds in front. His fastest laps are 1:54.85, which is quicker than the pole time for this race, so really quick. Danny Hands there. Second place is James Harwich. Third, Peter Belsey. 4th, Steve-O, as you were saying. Craig Pollard continuing in 5th. Maurice Gloucester is having a lonely race in 6th, and then for 7th, Ben Cressy has now cleared Bill Garner and has pulled away from him, and he's involved in a battle with Jack Wilkinson and with Vaughan Jones. So 8th, 9th and 10th all together there, heading off down towards the Britain chicane for this, the third lap of the race. Here's the battle of a second.
Yeah, with 10 minutes to go, so 2/3 of the race still left. And it is lit that this evening. But James Harridge, number 1, turns into Hislop now. Bit of curb taken on the right hand, bit of curb taken on the left hand element. Steve-O right with them as well. You just sense that, if anything, Harridge is possibly delaying both of these cars, but Harridge very capable of getting his elbows out and defending when he needs to try and keep them at bay. Last year, Harridge won all of the rounds in the championship, bar one, and that was one here at Oulton Park. So it's not necessarily always been the very, very happiest hunting ground for James Harridge, although I think one of his first wins was here a few years ago, thinking back. He's still there in second place, though, and this is good enough, as I say, for the championship. He'll be hoping that the car stays reliable after some recent dramas, and he'll be hoping as well that he can not get involved with Belzy. And as they come up to the line this time, he's got a bit more of a daylight between them now. And there's the 88 car, it's Francis Twyman's Storm. That looks like it's blown itself out, I'm afraid, because he's out of the race, Francis Twyman.
He was 21st. This is a good battle for 11th place, being headed by Steve Bailey, ahead of Mark Egan, James Madden, and not far behind them, Craig Curran, the former Monoposto driver, and one of his better races in Formula V. Sort of with a bit of a problem start for him when he tried out V's last year, but this is a bit better. Running in 14th, but it's Steve Bailey, another driver returning to the championship this season, I think, and he runs at the head of this pack in his GAC, and the Bears Motorsport car of Craig Curran's a little bit smoky, isn't it, there in P14. There's Mark Egan in the Ray. I think that's a converted Formula Ford car, isn't it? The Ray, and then just behind him is James Madden. Just in front of them is the battle continuing for 8th place, being headed by Bill Garner from Jack Wilkinson and Vaughan Jones as they turn their way through the Shellals hairpin for the 4th time. And behind them is Steve Bailey, still in front, just about, but it's a change behind him because James Madden has gone up the inside of Mark Egan, and joining in is Daniel Lanyon. He's lapping quite a bit quicker than the rest.
And it's side by side there, just behind as well, which I think involves Craig Curran in all of that. I think he made up a place on James Madden there, possibly.
I think he might go past Mark Egan as
He
well.
might well have done. Here's that battle. Now, that battle is effectively for second in Class B as well that just went in shot. James Harridge leads Class B, but Bill Garner and Jack Wilkinson disputing second in that class as we're watching 25 and 16. So they are going through. 16, of course, the car of James Madden. 25, Daniel Lanyon.
Yeah, they're both ahead of Mark Egan, so he was 12, but he's dropped to 15th on this lap.
Yes, they're climbing up Clay Hill once again. Stephen Bailey's a little bit more comfortable now in that 11th position, having watched those battling in his mirrors. There's this Bill Garner, Jack Wilkinson scrap. And you can see Wilkinson having a look on the inside into Lodge Corner, and he goes through to 8th place overall and 2nd place in Class B. Nicely done by Jack, who we don't see out that often these days, but it's usually pretty rapid when we do.
He's going to have a tap from either side, though, heading down towards Old Hall. He defends, trying to keep Bill Garner behind, and Vaughan Jones is going to look around the outside of both of them into Old Hall. That's not going to work on the way in, but on the way out of the corner, he's got a better run. He's alongside Garner, so who was at the front of this trio. He might end up at the back of it by the time they get to Cascade. Vaughan Jones is past him then, but he can't get a better of Jack Wilkinson. But that was a good move, really, from the two in front, and not so great for Bill Garner, who lost a couple of places.
Yeah, so he's back down into 10th position now. Great battles going all the way down the field, though, in this Heritage Park Centre Formula V Championship race. From our commentary position, we can see lots of dicing going on into Old Hall Corner every lap as well. But we're watching this battle for 9th and 10th places at the moment. It's Vaughan Jones, number 43 in the Storm, the drive from Abergavenny, ahead of number 10, Bill Garner, the drive from Wisbech in the Shane. As here, we can see Steve-O and Peter Belzy going side by side, and that's for 3rd place. And Steve-O has gone through now, so the Spider has dropped back to 4th position. Craig Pollard, after his off a few laps ago, is back with them, and James Harridge in 2nd place has now skittered off up the road on his own.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be quite pleased to be driving around by himself rather than involved in the battle as he got in his mirrors. Steve-O now ahead of Peter Belzy, so Steve-O, who hasn't raced that much this year but has finished on the podium, sits there in 3rd place ahead of the Brands Hatch race winner Peter Belzy, and then Craig Pollard, who has won twice this season, sits there in 5th place, recovering after that off earlier. Belzy fights right round the outside at Lodge Corner, which would be impressive, but he can't quite make it work, and Steve-O makes sure there's no way for Belzy to come round the outside on the exit of the corner. Now they cross the line with just over 5 minutes to go in this race, and something like 3 laps to go We've completed 5, and now it's Pollard that's trying to get past Belzy. Is that going to work? Well, he's alongside, I think, coming off of Old Hall down the avenue into Denton's, and Pollard's going to make the move. Is he on the outside line into Cascades? Yes, just about. He eventually got that.
That was always going to be the danger for Belzy, that any sort of attempt on O that was mistimed, misplaced, was going to allow Pollard to challenge, and so it proved on the next couple of corners, and Pollard's got back through into 4th position. So can he get another podium out of this, which would be his 8th of the season? But he needs to get ahead of Steve O first of all. Round Shell Oil's corner go those 3. O in 3rd, number 50, Pollard number 92 in 4th, and then 51, Peter Belzy in 5th position. There you can see how far ahead of them Harwich has now got. It's 3 seconds or so, I reckon, although Harwich is still 7.5 seconds behind the race leader Danny Hands with 4.25 minutes to go. There's Harwich in the Maverick, then it's the Dominator, the GAC and the Spider, demonstrating the real chassis diversity that we enjoy in the Heritage Park Centre Formula V Championship. Pollard and Belzy both using a bit of curb there at the first part of Hislop. Now through Knickerbrook they go, and up Clay Hill, a little bit wider there went Steve O in the 3rd position, number 50 AHS car, and then they'll go into the Woodland section, and Druids beckons, and Pollard's up on the inside. Difficult place to overtake Druids. I don't think it was ever really going to be a cast iron attempt. Lodge might be a better bet at the end of this straight, and he's pulling to the right-hand side of the circuit now. He's got his car alongside Steve. I think he's already ahead in actual fact by the time they get to the corner. So Craig Pollard, after that off early on in the race, back to 3rd position.
Can Peter Belzy buy into this as they cross the line to start lap 7 of the race? Or can Steve O fight back on Craig Pollard? Well, behind them, Jack Wilkinson's gone off at Druids, and in that battle of a 3rd, I think they go through Old Hall in the same order they were in, although O's run a bit wide. So we'll catch up on that in a moment. Jack Wilkinson, who was 8th off the road, is going to rejoin after a spin at Druids.
Quite serious camber on the rear of the car as well. One into the pits. Is that Daniel Lanier?
It's Vaughan Jones, who was just behind Jack Wilkinson. So whether that is anything to do with each other, it means Bill Garner's back up to 8th, but 2 cars that were running together on track are both in problems.
Yeah, I can see the 43 car now in the pit lane over my left shoulder.
Whether that camber was like that at the start of the race, I'm not sure.
There's another matter. Right, so that is the 94 car of Maurice Scott. He's having a quite race, isn't he, in 6th position. He was on the podium as well at Brands Hatch last time out. He also managed to get involved in an incident with Matt Harbus, unfortunately. He had a throttle stick open at Druids and went straight on.
You saw a real challenge there from Pete Belzy on Craig Pollard going into Britain's, and he's made a good exit out of it. And he's on the outside line heading down towards Hislops. You'd think Pollard's on the better line for into the corner, but maybe not so great for the exit of the corner through Knickerbrook, and that allows Steve O to get closer again on this, the penultimate lap of the race. But Craig Pollard has headed out of the corner in front. Of course, he's the one giving off the toe going up Clay Hill, and it's a long old drag in these Formula V cars. Not huge amounts of power at all. The battle's a bit further back. That's that battle for what was 11th, wasn't it? James Madden's pulled away, so he's 10th now, and then it's Steve Bailey in 11th. Craig Hurren, Mark Egan, Daniel Lanier, you've got Rachel Sway, Jack Wilkinson's joined in on that, as well as Simon Lively. So I think there's 7 cars involved. So we've gained a few cars into this battle. Rachel Swain and Simon Lively, and of course Jack Wilkinson, who he dropped back. The other 2 have moved forward.
Minute and a half left to go. I think we do have the last lap board gone out to Danny Hands in the lead of this race. For 3rd place, a possible change there. Yeah, Peter Belzy's gone back through into 3rd at Old Hall Corner that time, but watching this battle for 11th position make its way up towards Druids. That's the 16 car on his own, James Madden in 10th place.
Of course, Vaughan Jones pitted, so actually that is a battle to be inside the top 10 now.
Indeed, yeah, it's the last place inside the top 10 is that battle, headed at the moment by Steve Bailey, but he's under a lot of pressure now from Craig Curran in the number 12 Bears Motorsport GAC. He's going to have a look up the inside into Lodge Corner, but he's not alongside and tucks back in behind. You've then got the 25 car of Daniel Lanier, and then I think it's Mark Egan next up in that battle, 10th, 11th, 12th, etc. Up and over the line comes Stephen Bailey to start his final lap. And again, Craig Curran trying to find a way through, but not really able to get alongside Stephen Bailey and make a way through. But now he does, I think, on the exit of the corner. It's going to be the outside line for the left-hander at Cascades. Now he's tucked back in behind and he leaves the door open on the inside there for 25. Daniel Lanier to get through on the inside in the Dominator, and he does. So Daniel Lanier goes through into 11th place.
Quite a good battle this, isn't it? I wonder how many of the cars Jack Wilkinson can pick off after that off at Druids. So they turn their way down into Island Bend, and it's Lanier that's on the attack, trying to get past Steve Bailey. But Steve Bailey's improved hard to a pass in this race, because it seems a number of cars behind him are quicker but can't find a way through. A place picked off there for Wilkinson, I think, up the inside of Mark Egan. So they turn their way down towards Britons.
As the checkered flag goes out, it's Danny Hands that's taken the checkered flag to win for the 4th occasion this season. Now, we're about 10 seconds clear of that man, James Harridge, who comes across the line in 2nd place. He's already got his hand out of the cockpit and punching the air, so James Harridge knows that that is enough to wrap up the 2021 Heritage Park Centre Formula V Championship. 2nd place to him on that occasion, but enough for him to seal the championship with a race to spare. Peter Belzy going through to finish 3rd, off into the gravel trap, very bizarrely, on the final lap. Emil Kostadinov in his AHS Challenger, the man from Oxford, and also, it's Francis Thomas, who I thought had retired once. He got back into the race and has seemingly managed to get tangled up with Kostadinov somehow. That was for 21st and 22nd, I think. Meanwhile, 3rd over the line, I say, was Peter Belzy, 4th Steve O. Craig Pollard back to 5th in the end, a slow final lap for him. Maurice Gloucester 6th, Ben Cressy 7th, 8th Bill Garner, 9th James Madden, and then 10th Josh.
Steve Bailey's in front. Jack Wilkinson's passed all but he, hasn't he? Because he's up into 11th. Behind him, Mark Egan's just got through. And can Jack Wilkinson get through on the run to the line? He's all over the back of Steve Bailey's car. But I think Bailey is going to take 10th, and he looks very pleased with that. An 11th place to Wilkinson, who was 13th, or 12th, I should say. It was Egan, wasn't he? Just beat Craig Hurren. Rachel Swain was 14th. 15th with Simon Lively, and Daniel Lanier dropped back in the end to finish 16th. But Steve Bailey did a really good job, didn't he, to hold everyone off behind him. The only person I think who passed him all race was James Madden.
Yeah.
Everyone else couldn't do it.
Yeah, no, it was a very good defensive drive there from Stephen Bailey. I think everyone else was falling over each other as well, which probably helped him a little bit. But no, a very good battle for the minor placings there. But a clear win for Danny Hands is showing some very good pace. Probably could be a little bit too late in the season for him, though, unfortunately. He winning the race there by 11.26 seconds from James Harridge. And so car 2 wins from car 1. 3rd place going to number 51, Peter Belzy. 4th to number 50, Steve O. 5th to number 92, Craig Pollard. And 6th to 94, Maurice Gloucester. I think everyone's now completed their race. Yep, Danny Hands, there he is, going to lead the cars into Parc Fermé, so we'll be able to hear from him in just a few moments' time with John. And we'll look forward to the final Formula V round of the year a little bit later on this afternoon. Will James Harridge come out already crowned champion, just to take it as a lap of honour? Or, Francis Twyman. Oh, yeah, I don't think Francis Twyman had actually taken the checkered flag, which he has now done. But everyone else had already completed their race, of course.
Going back to the James Harridge point, because he hasn't really got any points to drop, has he? There's no risk except for, I guess, to the car about going out later on and having a good battle.
That's true. That's true. So we'll see whether James opts to do that or opts to watch on from the sidelines in that second race of the day. I mean, that car has proved to be a little bit fragile, or the engine more to the point, in the last couple of meetings. So whether he'll be mindful of trying to protect that or not, I'm not quite sure, but we'll wait and see. Next race is going to be the big race of the day, by the way, the Tagiwa Club Enduro Championship. That's 125 minutes. We'll give you details of the grid and the start drivers for that shortly. But let's head down to Parc Fermé now, and to John Ratcliffe, who's going to talk to our top 3.
Wow, wow, wow. Another race that didn't disappoint. The Formula V's, fantastic little cars, and they produce some great racing. And we're going to talk to the top 3 from that race. We're going to first have a chat with Danny. Danny, can I get a quick word? What a race from you there, mate. It seemed like you absolutely commanded that from the front.
Yeah, it's bittersweet really, because winning ultimately lost me the championship because Craig comes second, so fair play to him. So I'm a bit disappointed, but I'll take the win. So.
Exactly, you did all you could do. You got out there in front and you managed to win, so well done.
Yeah, I couldn't do anything more really, and the team couldn't do anything more. We had clutch problems this morning, and they pulled out all the stops to get the car running. So I'm just glad I could repay that hard work with a win.
Yeah, fantastic. Well done, mate. Thank you for chatting with us. Hopefully, let's have a chat with James Harridge. has managed to win the Heritage Parts Centre Formula V Championship for 2021. Sir, you're the champion. How does that feel, mate?
Bloody amazing, yeah. After all that hard work, it's yeah.
Mate, I'm glad to hear it. He's getting a little bit emotional, but mate, you'd fully deserve it. What a race from you. And I saw him come across the line and absolutely pumping his fist in the air. What a result from him. So a big shout out, mate. If you're able to give us a few words, then you, but no pressure, of course, to say anything. I understand it's a bit emotional.
So much effort goes into it, you know, over the whole year. A lot of effort from the family. Yeah, it's just nice to put it away with one round to go. So, yeah, hopefully we can come back next year and have another go.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, thanks for so loads of people out there watching today. So, yeah, it's nice to see everybody waving as we're going around. So, yeah, it's been a hard year, really. Not like last year where I had it easy. These guys have all pushed me really hard. So, yeah, it's been hard graft. Yeah. So I feel like I've earned that one.
Yeah. It really showed what it meant to you when you're pumping your fist over the line. So again, well done, mate. Thank you for speaking with us. And then in third place as well, we have Peter Belzy. Peter, fantastic little battle for third place there between the three of you. How did you manage to come out on top?
I'm not quite sure, to be honest. There was a couple of, well, Craig obviously made a mistake early on at the chicane, so we got past him there. Then I was trying to stay with these guys at the front, but I had a bit of a battle with James for a while, and then Steve was on my tail and got involved with Steve, which nice little battle there. And then I managed to, and Craig came to join the fun, and eventually Craig and I got past Steve. And then I don't know if Craig was a bit down on engine power or something, but managed to get past him.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how you got him on the final lap, because we didn't actually see it on the stream. We were watching a different battle a bit further back. Do you remember how you got him on the final lap?
I went round the outside at the first corner, but I don't think that was the final lap, was it? I think there was a bit of, they must have slowed each other down, or they slowed because there was quite a big gap at the end.
Yeah, there was so much going on. It was so difficult to focus, but still, fantastic job, mate, and well on the P3. Appreciate the chat. But yeah, fantastic. Another brilliant race from Oulton Park. We've had so many already today, and we've got so many coming up in future. To see what's coming up next on the schedule. Of course, how could I forget? We've got the Tegawa Club Enduro Championship coming up, so another long race. Let's get onto it.